G'day, ZiggyD here today with a guide to early game PvT in Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. The specific things I'm going to be focusing on this video are dealing with early game marine pressure and how to follow up and counter strong from a 1-gate expand. So I'll be playing fairly reactionary like I usually do in PvT, opening up with the 1-gate and into a Nexus. However, you really have to play it by ear based on your scouting with your initial Zealot and your initial Stalker Zealot and your initial probe. So let's go ahead and speed things up here and we'll see. We'll take over from the point where I scout with my initial probe, because that's where we start to recognize the things like the early marine pressure. So just waiting until we come up here and we send my probe out on the 13 gateway. Now the reason for this doing is I'm just getting a little bit of extra economic advantage by having that probe mine for slightly longer, and that'll let me get my early Zealot out, which I really like to do. I like to go Zealot before core in most matchups, but especially PvT, especially where they don't wall off, which is what I'll find out pretty soon. So on the 13 scout, you can still get to the Terran base on a 2-player map fairly quickly. On a 4-player map, you might want to send your probe out on the 9 pylon just to scout a little bit earlier. So straight away here I see 2 barracks, so I'm pretty sure that he's either going to be going for a huge rush, or he's going to be doing some light marine pressure before expanding or teching or something like that. So I see that, and I'm just harassing the SCVs there. I'm kind of like elongating some sections of my words tonight for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that. So, as usual, I'm starting off with my Zealot before core and chrono boosting the Zealot. I'm going to pressure with 2 early Zealots and a Stalker, which I tend to do. I poked back up here with my probe, and I didn't expect to see that Marine that early, so he ends up killing me off. I accidentally auto-attack in there, but 5 hit points of damage might come in handy later on, we'll see. So, chrono boosting out that second Zealot, but if you're just going Zealot Stalker, which is the best way to open up in a 1-gate expand situation, then you can do exactly the same thing, just scouting slightly later with your what would be my second Zealot, but your first Zealot. So there's really not too much difference. It only comes into play if you end up pressuring with that. So I go straight for the Stalker first, and then I go ahead and get the Warp Gate research. You should, if you're looking to play a bit more standard, you should get the Warp Gate research first, and then get the Stalker slightly later. But I really want to pressure with these early Zealots there. So I'm following this Zealot here. If I go to my own view, I see those Marines and I'm able to pull back before they start attacking. Now I know that the Marines cannot outrun the Zealots, so I'm fine to just chase those back, just to have them chase me all the way to my base. Now what I do have here is the Stalker. Now the Stalker can outrun the Marines and can kite them indefinitely. So what you really should ideally do in this situation here, where you know that they have Marines out, or you know that they have Marines just in their base, is you should take your Stalkers all the way up to the front of their base, get right in the face of their Marines, and then you can kite them and stay just out of range. However, I'm sort of focusing on just getting my, I'm dealing with what I perceived at this point to be an all-in. Like I hadn't seen the expansion, so I didn't know that was coming up. So I threw down an extra gateway before, planning on expanding. I could have got a few more gateways, if I really thought he was all-in, but I wanted to wait and see what he was doing with his Marines. So I noticed that he's being fairly tentative and he pulls back, so I decided to just chase down with the Stalker, pull that probe back and expand, just go straight into the gateway. So here's a key point here of microing against Marines, because a big part of defending early Marine pressure in PvT is how you actually engage them with your Zealots and Stalkers. So you'll have 1 or 2 Zealots here and Stalkers. Mostly Stalkers are probably the most important units, but Zealots still have a role to play. Now, obviously the key to micro for all Protoss units is to have only the units with full shields engaging, or trying to take as much damage on your shielded units as you can, and pulling back the ones that are starting to take damage on health. So the key with Zealots is the Marines, if he's not able to focus fire, and he won't be able to because the Zealots will be right up close to the Marines, is to pull back the Zealots whenever they start taking damage beyond their shields. So what they'll do is they'll take a lot of the damage from the Stalkers, allowing the Stalkers, they'll tank for the Stalkers essentially, allowing the Stalkers to attack the Marines freely. Now I should have kept chasing these guys down, because that Zealot, that Marine there was screwed no matter what, because he would have had to either eventually turn around or go to my base and die from another unit. So I should have kept chasing and focus firing down this Marine and then this Marine here. I could have gotten 2 more kills. Now I know here, if I just get rid of that, I can pressure a little bit, and he pulls SCVs, which I know I can get a few easy SCV kills here, because 2 Stalkers plus 2 Zealots, easy SCV kills. So again, I pull those Zealots back once they're starting to take a lot of damage here, and then I just decide to clean up the rest of the Marines. Now I probably could have saved those 2 Zealots even and had their shields regenerate, but you can't be perfect on your micro all the time. So as soon as that bunker's up, I pull back here. Now what I've done is at the same time I've sent a probe out to build up a pylon, and I've thrown down 2 extra gateways to bring my total to 4 gates. In a 1-gate expand, once you've got your Nexus up and mining, what you'll usually do, just once you've scouted whether he's teching or what he's doing, if he's only got Marines but you've seen him throw down some other tech buildings and he's getting gas and things like that, you've scouted that, then the first thing you should do is go from your 1-gate to a robotics, and then into 2 more gateways or 3 more gateways if you want to pressure or want to defend like a really bad, like a 1-1-1 or something like that. However, since I know that I've seen him expand and I haven't seen any tech, and I sort of feel like he's on the back foot from my little counter they're taking out his Marines, instead I've decided to throw down just all gateways, 4 gateways, super aggressive style. I don't have this second base up mining here, but thanks to the SCVs that I killed earlier, I knew that there's a good chance I had an economic advantage despite not having that second base up as early as he did. And as you can see here, the harvest account confirms that 30 to 20 there, because he took a few kills and maybe his SCV macro wasn't quite spot on there. So we'll go back into that, and then the last thing I'll cover is just how to break this, this 1 bunker situation here. And you can do this even once he's got 2 bunkers up, but it gets a little bit more tricky, and then you might have to pull back and tech out. But since he's only got the 1 bunker up, I'm pretty sure I can pressure this. Now, I was fairly confident that I could break this here. However, he gets the repair just in time there, and with the helps from the mules there, he's able to repair that, and I accidentally lose the Stalker, and I decide it's time to pull back. Now, what I do here is I'll warp in. I should be warping in. There we go, I warp in a sentry. You only need 1 sentry for this bunker bust technique, and that's all you do is you need to engage the bunker as per normal, make sure you're focus firing it. You can kill off Marines if you want, and then once he pulls units to repair, you can use the force field on the back side of the bunker there. However, as you saw, because he was doing some little switching around stuff with his barracks and factory and things like that, he pulled SCVs and mules. He pulled them a bit late, and wasn't able to get repair off anyway. But even if he had tried, I would have been able to force fight the majority of those SCVs from repairing. I would have been able to take out that bunker, and I would have been able to win anyway. But since that didn't happen, I was able to use the force field to block off the ramp and secure the GG, since he's just lost too many SCVs and has no units yet anymore. Something. Anyway, hopefully you guys have found this helpful. PvT is one of my favorite matchups because I really enjoy this early game scouting and reactionary style, and I really enjoy microing against Marines and stuff like that in the early game. It's quite fun to play once you start to get the hang of how to react and how to micro and things like that. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too, and this will help you guys out hopefully. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.